Jeffrey Epstein bombshells are bursting today, and Donald Trump and his press secretary have both reacted with panicked intensity. And I have it all for you next in something I like to call...
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Let's begin this report by setting the stage with a compilation of the Epstein news that is making this White House hump day one of the humpiest of all. And on the other side, I'll share Trump and Levitt colliding with that hump at full speed with their respective rebuttals.
We had emails from Jeffrey Epstein saying, first of all, of course, Trump knew about what was going on with the girls because he told Ghislaine Maxwell to stop. He also claimed that Trump had spent hours with one of the victims. You also see him strategizing with Michael Wolff about a potential question to Donald Trump in the debates during 2015. Those questions didn't end up getting asked, but in any case, interesting to see them strategizing back and forth. You see them talking about how surprised they are that Trump hasn't been brought up in the context of Jeffrey Epstein in a more significant way.
And this is what's so important about those emails. It's not just rich and powerful men who may have abused and raped girls. It's a lot of rich and powerful people who knew that the abuse was going on and did nothing about it, and actually still solicited Epstein for funding and were friends with Epstein and just swept it under the rug. And what these emails show is Donald Trump was aware of what was going on, and that it was such a culture of abuse that people just thought, oh, this is just the way the world works. Well, their time is up.
Again, thank you so much. And just to be clear, I want to make sure I heard you correctly. You will be voting yes on releasing the Epstein files if it makes it to the floor, and you believe it will.
If it goes on the floor, I get a lot of pushback. Why don't you put your name in the discharge petition? And I'm just going to be subtle in my response. Just look at all the few Republicans are on it and who they are. It's going to come on the floor. I will vote yes.
Got it. All right, Congressman Bacon.
The response is simple. Then release all the files. If the president has nothing to hide, if the press secretary right there in her comments and statement, if they have nothing to hide at the White House or the Department of Justice, then all we want is for them to release the full files. It's very clear. You can't spend your entire campaign saying you're going to do something and make a commitment to the American people and then backtrack. And so we're going to ensure, one, we always are going to protect the victims and survivors. And if they want to clear the president's name, and more importantly, also all of the other men and powerful men that may have been involved, then release the files today. That should be the response from the White House.
But that was not the response. Watch as Caroline Levitt gets squeezed for answers by the press, and she responds with a deflection that has no substance in 2025. But that was not the response. Watch as Caroline Levitt gets squeezed for answers by the press, and then I'll show you Trump's reaction to being put on the Epstein hot seat today.
Some transparency. Why not just go ahead, release the full files on Epstein, get this all over with?
This administration has done more with respect to transparency when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein than any administration ever. In fact, this administration, the Department of Justice, has turned over tens of thousands of documents to the American people. We are cooperating and showing support for the House Oversight Committee. That's part of the reason you are seeing these documents that were released today, because of the House Oversight Committee's and Republicans' efforts to get these out to the public. So this administration has done more than any, and it just shows how this is truly a manufactured hoax by the Democrat Party. For now, they're talking about it all of a sudden because President Trump is in the Oval Office.
So that was the usually cool and prepared Caroline Levitt appearing panicked and scrambling into some weak whataboutism. But her boss always remains cool under pressure and never impulsively blurts out things to deflect when he's guilty of something, right? Here's Trump blurting out all over himself with some misdirection of his own in a Truth Social post. The Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown, and so many other subjects only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap. The Democrats cost our country $1.5 trillion with their recent antics of viciously closing our country, while at the same time putting many at risk, and they should pay a fair price. There should be no deflections to Epstein or anything else, and any Republicans involved should be focused only on opening up our country and fixing the massive damage caused by the Democrats. This breaking story is spectacular news for truth seekers on both sides. I say both sides because many MAGA influencers have not been shy about their need for transparency with regards to Epstein, and they are okay with letting the chips fall where they may. And speaking of truth, I'll give the final word to Anushka DeGeorgia, who was introduced to Donald Trump by Ghislaine Maxwell as a 20-year-old.
You met Donald Trump, is it right, through Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did, yes, and I met him on several occasions. Ghislaine Maxwell did introduce me to him, and she introduced me to him with a clear message of my being with him in the same way that she had trafficked me and brought me to Jeffrey Epstein.